Hello, everyone. We have a leader today on our show who garners respect and admiration across party lines, and especially the youth of our volunteers watch from all across India. And they were after a life that, get us Suresh Prabhu sir, so that we can talk about, we can ask some questions basically that how can youth help in building this modern nation, especially those who have been working in the social sector. It has flipped completely. And, all the ground projects have stalled and all. But how can youth embrace technology to continue doing the good work and continue helping this nation?
Should I speak? Hello? Can I speak?
Yes, sir. Please continue. I think frame dropped off.
Yeah, I think there is some problem in your hearing. Anyway, so good afternoon, friends, and thank you very much for giving me opportunity to talk to the youth of India. And a very important topic that you have kept for discussion. What could be the role of youth? What could be the manifesto that we must have to meet the aspirations of the youth? What could be the responsibilities of the youth? And all of this in context of our nation, our country, our society, and how do we actually work on all these issues together. I must congratulate you for focusing on these important issues together,
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
and for that matter, calling an old man like me to talk up to the youth of India.
Sir, you are a rock star. Come on.
So thank you very much. At least for some time, I can feel young again in the midst of all of you. Thank you very much.
Definitely, definitely.
Okay, now let us look at it. I will speak for some time, and then, of course, as you said, I'll answer all the questions if possible. I have to go back to the parliament, but I'm sure we can complete by 3:30 or rather 4 o'clock, so we'll be fine. But let me
Right, sir.
start with that. First of all, India is a country which has a huge, rich, and a long history. We can trace back India's history to at least few thousand years ago, even maybe longer. But unfortunately, there was no systemic record of history that was kept at that particular time. But if you go by the anthropological records, archaeological records, and other ancillary evidence that is available to us, we can safely and conclusively say that India is one of the longest living civilization in the world. There are others, but we are definitely one of them. There have been civilizations in South America, Incas, Maya civilization, but not all of them could live longer. Of course, Egypt again has very long living civilization and others. But our civilization, when you look back and look into it, makes us really proud. The people living at that time had a huge advanced thinking, incredible accomplishments, far better vision, and more importantly, they had values for living on the planet. That respect for other living beings, and they never thought themselves confined to only the geographical boundaries which defined India, but they believed in working for the whole humanity, the whole living beings. And that's how the concept of Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam was born. And therefore, it's very interesting that a country with old civilization today, in the contemporary times, is a country of young people. So, old civilization and a young population. More than 2/3 of the people in India today are very young, like all of you, not like me. I belong to the remaining 1/3. And that means one of the largest young population on the planet is living in India. Now that makes a very interesting combination. If you didn't have a historical heritage of this kind, you didn't have an obligation, a responsibility to carry out that rich heritage. Again, if the heritage itself was not as rich enough and not based on the values that would define the living beings of the planet, it was not again a burden on us. A burden in a positive way. If I'm born in a family which followed certain traditions, values, systems for a long time, for generations together, then I'm born in that family, it becomes incumbent upon me to value those traditions. Of course, I have a right to discard some of those traditions which I feel not valid anymore. But the good part of those I must carry forward. That's in my genes. That's in my DNA. That's part of my history, part of my culture, part of my tradition, part of my family traditions. So same way as a society, if we didn't have such a rich history and rich heritage, we didn't have to worry about bothering, because there are some countries who are very young in terms of history. The civilization does not go back even few 100 years, we go back thousands of years. And they therefore don't have a responsibility of that kind that we have. So now India has a very important challenge of young country with rich history. A country with young population, obviously have young aspirations, different type of expectations and ambitions. But how do you work on this very interesting combination? The youth of India today, therefore lucky, they can draw back upon many historical perspectives, and that is all in our genes anyway.
Right.
So that's come genetically. Like just imagine, you think animals are taught to how to go and deal with a particular situation, because animal progenies, they live with their mother for a very short time. Not with the parents, I can say, because that concept is not as much is there as it is in human being, that both husband, the mother and father, and of course the extended family raise the child. Of course, there are some animal kingdoms and then some birds and some insects. They have this, but not most of them don't have it. But we have it. So obviously that comes genetically in us, like it comes to the animals without training. So we have been in a very unique situation. Now the youth today are in a way wanting more in their own lives, expecting more from the society, and obviously have demands on the country, on the nation. The primary
भैया को किससे उनका हाथ क्या था
Sir, we can't hear you. We've lost your voice. Prem, can you hear him?
No, for like last 30 seconds, I guess we
Yes.
lost the voice. So all the people who are watching, I hope they are, at least acknowledging the fact that no, sir, can't hear you. Acknowledging the fact that you have the benefit of being born in India, which has a continuing cultural tradition, and UNESCO has in fact recognized it as the only civilization to have that. So we are lucky that way, but I think we are unlucky in terms of internet today, I guess.
Meanwhile, all of those who are watching us, listening to us, if you have any questions for Sir, please keep posting in the comments. We'll try to take
Right,
them up towards the end.
right, right. Is there any question which you would like me to put forth? Sanskriti, am I audible?
Yes, you are.
Okay. Can you please message Pradyumna to check with Sir's office?
Yes, ma'am.
Dashil says that I am right. What am I right about? Okay. So is there any question which you want me to ask from Suresh Prabhu sir? Then you can, type it out in comments, in chat box. Siddharth is asking, how should we harness our own culture for our development? Right. Sir has spoken on what. Now we can ask him how to do it. And I mean, if you like the suggestion, then please try to adopt it in your lifestyle. What are steps that he would like to put forward to empower the youths for a country's development? Okay. I think, I mean, more than anybody else doing it, the youth in this country themselves need to, stand up to the situation. I mean, of course, only those who can, who have this privilege, who have this skill, this network, they must, stand up to the situation during this time and help out as many
Sir
people
has
as they
joined
can.
back.
Okay.
Okay. Can you hear me?
Yes,
Yes,
sir.
sir. Loud and
Okay.
clear.
Okay. So I don't know how much you lost, but I was just saying, let me, because I'm speaking extempore, I don't have notes. So
Right, right, sir.
I always speak extempore. I'm a illiterate person, so I cannot read, so I just speak. So I was saying,
Hmm.
every youth least expectation from the society, from the nation, is that he should be allowed to pursue what he feels he needs to do. And those pursuits must be allowed to be done by him. And the beginning of that pursuit starts with education.
Hmm.
A person feels that he must get educated for getting enlightened if he wants to pursue a spiritual path, or education for getting source of livelihood. a means of earning his own income so that he can be on his own feet. Like every bird, every animal is freed after some time and he builds his own nest, starts his own living. Every person feels that he should be allowed to do that. And that's a basic minimum expectation, must be part of a manifesto. That every youth must be able to do what he feels is most appropriate for him to do. Somebody may be interested to be a physician. Someone may be interested to be a physicist, not a physician, physicist. Somebody may be interested to become just an artist. Somebody may be interested to just be a teacher. Somebody may be interested to just do nothing. That's also his right. So I think
Right.
we should be able to ensure that that pursuit of human beings should be allowed to be carried out to its fullest extent, and such conducive atmosphere must be created by the government. First to education, and then providing jobs, ensuring livelihood, and over a period of time making sure that he has an atmosphere created which will allow his inner latent talent to come to fore.
Right. Right.
You have seen in some countries there are specific areas earmarked for artists to go and just paint.
Right.
That's something, a manifestation of his inner feeling.
Oh,
Somebody
yes.
can just go and sing somewhere he wants to sing. Somebody can go and just do jogging if he wants to do. So
Yep.
that is the basic pursuit that we should be allowed to do pursue. So jobs,
Yes.
very important, but jobs come much later. First comes education, which leads to understanding by the youth himself as to what he wants to do in life. Because education opens a new vistas in his own mind. He has certain vague ideas which gets properly what he wants to do. So education opens that mind for that person to the outside world within country, outside country. So that's first. It's allowing you to pursue his own path, ambitions, aspirations.
Right.
Second
Right. Right.
challenge that comes in, and that should be the part of a manifesto, is equal opportunities. We must make sure that a person is not discriminated against by somebody else. Now, that part comes in form of, if I'm rich, I should not get more advantages than the poor. I am competent, I must get an opportunity. Of course, when you talk about equal opportunity, you must understand the very important aspect of our society. In the past, historical challenges we face is that some communities were discriminated against in the past, and therefore they have a problem.
Right.
They
Right.
cannot compete in today's world because they have been deprived of that opportunity to be there
True. True.
as
True.
legitimate opportunities in the past.
Yes.
And
Yes.
therefore, we must keep that in mind. When you say equal opportunities, equal for those who are at the same footing, and those unequally placed in the society, they also must be given opportunities to compete with the rest. So, equal opportunities is
Right.
another aspect of the manifesto.
Right.
And that doesn't mean that we should do away with affirmative action. It doesn't mean that we should do away with the kind of reservation that we have, because that is something which was historically necessary. Dr. Babasaheb Ambedkar debated about it in the Constituent Assembly, and we are doing with that. But that opportunities is very important. The third aspect, and that is something which is going to be extremely important in the years to come, is how do you create a society where a child, when he's born, is born as a boy or a girl. But the gender equality is very important. A society which has always respected women, and we should make sure that in India, the women, the youth, the young, and the young children, young girls, they also get as much opportunity as the boys and the men would get it. So equality has to be gender neutral as well. It cannot be said that equality only for men. and women will be discriminated against. In fact, many laws that have been made all over the world are intrinsically discriminate against the woman because it's come from the mindset that we are superior to women. I think that mindset also has to be changed, and that's the minimum expectation of the youth of the country. And youth means women, girls. Therefore, they cannot be eliminated or avoided from the discourse. And let's come to, because I think we have no much time, come to the point of responsibilities. I think youth of India must also understand their rights but also responsibilities. The rights and responsibilities go hand in hand. You cannot expect rights when you avoid responsibilities. And the responsibilities, first, foremost responsibility of a youth is keep nation first. Ensure your obligations towards society, because if society progresses, members of the society will also progress. Not always, and therefore we need affirmative action. But society's progress is paramount, and that's the responsibility of youth of India. Youth of India must carry forward our great historical past, because that's something which we should be proud of. That's like a treasure that has been kept, but also enhance it, enrich it, make it better. Get rid of, and that's the responsibility, get rid of such practices which are no longer valid in today's world. Like, for example, untouchability. But one such practice that was followed had been always were unfortunately carrying it forward. So now we are dispensed with it. Another practice in society that human waste will be carried by some people on their head. We got dispensed with this.
Right.
Came out with a new system. Just so certain practices like this, we must get rid of. They cannot be carried forward only because they were there as a part of a historical past. So
Right,
history
definitely, sir. I
has
mean,
to be
history,
taken
of
forward.
course. Yes, sir. I mean, and we definitely agree to that, sir. That I mean, and like I was saying earlier, also that UNESCO has recognized Indian culture as the only continued civilization of this world. Which was popularly called as Indus Saraswati civilization. Uh, we would also like to have your views time else whenever you have time, or if you can speak on that for a couple of minutes, sir. That how can social media be used constructively to garner the support of youth in nation building? Because youth is criticized a lot. We all are criticized a lot. That we are on Instagram constantly, we are on Facebook constantly. But what can we do to use the social media in a constructive manner?
See, social media is going to be. You are talking about social media, right?
Yes.
See,
Right, right.
social media is going to be an integral part of future. It has already invaded our private and personal lives like never before, and therefore it's
Right.
going to be an integral part of future.
Unnecessary evil, huh?
Mainstream media, the technology-driven media are also now finding it very difficult to compete with social media, because earlier, if I read a news and I wanted to give a response to it, then only way I could do that is write a letter to the editor. If editor is good
Oh,
enough, publish it. Otherwise, nothing. There's no way that we could understand the feedback. But here now you can get a
right,
feedback
right,
from people within a second, a fraction of a second. Now that puts
right.
responsibility on the people.
Hmm.
That what are you posting on your social media? You should not do character assassination of a
Hmm.
person. I can see there's a young girl in the program. Just imagine the character of an individual is built with so much of effort. And if you just put a post derogatory to a young girl or a young boy without
Right,
any justification, you are ruining somebody else's life. So therefore, what you post on social media is going to be extremely important. You have to be very careful, because this has to be a self-censorship. In other media, there is a Press Council of India, there is somebody else will look into this. There is a regulation. But here there is no regulation. The only regulation you can have is your own thought. So I would request all of you to use this social media effectively as a tool, but should not be used as a nuclear bomb that you want to destroy somebody else. You must make sure that social media can be very useful. You can actually go reach out to a person very effectively when there are other forms of media not available. But that should be the ideal way of using it for constructive purpose. Like a fire, you can use fire for cooking, or you can use fire for destroying somebody else's house. So it is a new tool that all of you make good use of.
Right. Thank you, sir. Thank you for this kind advice. And I know you are a very busy man. You have looked after so many portfolios. And Keshav, I think he asked one question, that which has been your favorite one? You have handled over 10 portfolios as a cabinet position, as a cabinet minister. So which one has been your favorite, sir?
You are asking a question as if you ask a question to a mother who is your most favorite child. Right? So,
sir, maybe we can ask you which has been the most troublesome.
but I can tell you that
Yeah.
each of that was very challenging. I'll tell you, I started
Okay.
in Atalji's cabinet 25 years ago. My first cabinet position was 25 years ago, and I was youngest ever cabinet minister at that time at the Union government, and that was industry. Then I was minister for environment and forest. I was minister for chemical fertilizers, which included petrochemicals and pharmaceuticals. Then I was minister for power, and I introduced the most path-breaking power sector reforms in the country. In fact, today country is benefiting from it, because at that time I got a new law made which allowed a huge investment into power sector in more than $220 billion. And then, of course, I was looking at interlink of rivers, which is one of the most challenging but yet very controversial subject, because dealing with water. I had 5,000 programs on that all over the world, all the country, I'm sorry. And then I was under Modi ji. Modi ji put me first as in his own office as a G20 Sherpa. I used to sit there with cabinet minister rank, then of course Minister of Railways, Minister for then of course in the Atalji's cabinet I was also Minister of Heavy Industry and Public Enterprise. I forgot. Then Railways, and then Minister for Commerce and Industry, which included logistics, then of course aviation. So I think I handled many portfolios, and therefore it is very difficult to say which one was more interesting, which I liked most. I cannot tell you, but I can tell you each one of them was very challenging. But that was also satisfying, because I took upon myself the responsibility of reforming each of those. In the railways, we came out with a path-breaking reform, so was in the power sector, everywhere. I brought transparency in each of these ministries. In those days, more than 25 years ago, 23 years ago actually to be more precise, in Environment Ministry we started putting movement of files on internet, which was never heard of, not only in India but anywhere else in the world. So I think this has been a very interesting journey. I'm sure I was lucky that I was younger like you. Not, of course, you are much younger than me, even at that, comparing with that time. But I think youth gives you an opportunity to fulfill and face so many challenges. And I think I can tell you one thing: never get overawed by challenge. Because if you may feel, oh, how can I deal with this? My God, I have to climb so much of a big, heavy path. But I think that's not difficult. Have faith in yourself. That's more important. If you have faith in yourself, that's your biggest capital, is you have faith in yourself. You cannot import it from anywhere. Nobody can give you that as a technological transfer. You have to use it, your own inner ability. And there's another thing I'll tell you. Your inner ability is so huge that you don't know. There is an install capacity for a plant and machinery. For a human mind, there is no install capacity. You can stretch it to any extent. So I think you should try to use that infinite ability of a human being to perform unimaginable tasks. I think you work on it. I really wish you all the best.
Yeah, thank you, sir. And I really hope that we did not make you late for the parliament. If you really do not have to go to the parliament, then we can, keep on this conversation for another 2-3 hours.
Because
ask
me one more question. Ask me one more question.
Okay. One more question, sir. I mean, more of like a suggestion, coming from youth that it's high time for government to have a separate ministry, for media and social media, so that these platforms can be used in a constructive manner. Like I'll try to relate to the last question itself, that the labeling of youth these days, that this is Twitter army, this is troll army, this is constantly on Facebook, this is constantly on Instagram. That stigma has to stop, because we have been running an NGO, and we have built 282 libraries so far, using social media only. We started with Nagaland, we went to
You are
Arunachal,
physically in social
Sikkim.
media.
Yes. So
Okay, I didn't realize that. I would have spoken on that more. I thought you wanted me to speak generally about all of these things. But because you are in social media, you are in the most important part of our life. In fact, I will tell you something. As a railway minister, I started using social media for bringing in people together. You cannot imagine, that is one of the best in the, not one of the
we
best in the
remember
world.
we remember, sir,
You know,
like if anybody had any problem in a train, they can simply retweet you and the problem was solved. I mean, India had never witnessed anything like that before.
Prem, I will tell you, you will not believe it. The people used to get help, like say, Sanskruti is traveling on a train, and I'm not saying Keshav will do that, but I'm just saying Keshav is trying to tease her. I will take action even before Keshav realizes that complaint has been made. We
Right,
have
right.
cleaned the coach service, that you send me a SMS, and within less than 20 minutes, it was started on an experimental basis on some trains, the coach will be cleaned. A food, if you make complaint, there will be action taken on that. A security will be provided to person. In fact, one person tweeted to me that he is having a heart attack. Looks like he suspected heart attack. We got him admitted to a hospital on the next station with ambulance
Oh
and
my.
life-saving instrument waiting there. He tweeted from ICU that my life was saved because of that one tweet I made. One
Right.
young woman, one young mother, she was having problem because of there was a flooding and train was stranded. We gave a hot milk to the child in a completely secluded place. I mean, I
Oh
can
my
tell you
God.
thousands of stories.
Sir, these
So
stories have
social
to be
media can
covered,
play
and we
a very
definitely
positive.
need
Prem, in
more of
fact,
your time, sir. Uh,
Prem, in fact,
So you're asking about social media. So social media can be used as a transformational measure. I think, Prem, you must invite me once again. I will like to talk to all of you, because the YOLO seems to be very interesting platform that you have created. I never realized that you are doing all these things together. And it's my mistake. I didn't
right,
get
right.
sir,
into
if
that.
I can frame, if I can share my own experience, sir, that once I was traveling from Valsad to Mumbai in the train itself, and my sister-in-law's purse was left behind. We didn't realize that, but once we reached back home at Valsad, we thought that we have left our purse, and we did the very same thing. We tweeted tagging your ministry, and we got the response within 5 minutes. And the police station there of the railway at Bombay called us that we have found your purse, come and collect it. So that happened to me as well, and I
Thank
never
you,
got the
Keshav.
chance to thank anyone. I'm very fortunate that I'm able to thank you in person, and that you have affected me personally. I can share my own experience.
Thank you, Keshav. Nama. Keshav Nama, I'm saying. But I know, I am just telling you, there are so many global institutions who are trying to do case study on this. Yes, how can you do it? Because there are every day, there are at least 75 lakh people travel in railway in Mumbai alone. And in a year, 810 crore people travel by railways, more than world population. So you can imagine, how could you do this? So this was unimaginable. And this is the only example in the world we do it. And that there was no system. There's nothing in the past. I was telling you earlier when I was speaking that we draw on the past. Here, there was no past. There was no system like this. From nothing, we created a system, and that too only because of social media. So I'm very happy that you are all working in social media. I didn't realize it earlier. So I would self-invite myself for your next program, and I would like
Yes,
to
sir.
come and talk to all of you and
Sir, one
meet
of
you
our
again.
upcoming Yes, sir. Sir, one of our upcoming projects is that next we are working on Bihar elections 2020, because this is the first election that is going to happen in the COVID times. So we're trying to spread awareness about the election commission guidelines, how to maintain distance and how to vote in COVID times. So we are taking
Fantastic.
up that project also. And sir, in that project, because you come from such a vast experience and such a political background, of course, sir, we will also be very thankful if you would be able to come back again as soon as possible, and we would have you speak on
Where are
those
you?
topics.
Where are you based? Where are you guys based? Are you in Delhi or where are you?
Yes, sir. We are in Delhi. Primarily,
All
we
of
are
you.
based in NCR, but our work is spread all over India. As Prem was telling you, we have
So
about
let's
300 libraries.
meet also one day. I will. We can do. I will of course like to come for your program, but let's meet again
Sure,
whenever it
sir.
is possible.
Sure, sir.
And
Definitely.
let me invite you for a cup of tea so that we can discuss it properly. But
Yes.
I will tell you one thing. You please enroll me as your volunteer, wherein I will like to support all your initiatives. And as Prem was asking me earlier, I think you can use this platform for such a tremendous social good. It's all in a mind. See, if I want to harass you, I can use this media for
Definitely.
that purpose. But if I want to do something good, so it's in my mind. What is my thought? So if we start with a positive thought, we can do some tremendous changes. So I'll really thank you for giving me this opportunity. I would really like to work with all of you. And please be assured about one thing, that whenever you need some help, support, you just call me. I will give whatever is best possible for me. Really appreciate it. And I'm sorry I have to go like this, but
No,
I
sir.
will be with
Definitely.
you
Sir,
and
we
we'll
are
work.
thankful
So
for
you
all.
are going back with a very big promise, and we have made a note of it. And team will reach out to you very soon. And like Keshav said, that we would love to have your views on how people can participate more in the upcoming election during the kind times of COVID.
And
So
please,
let's fix
please
a
do one
time
thing.
sometime very soon, sir.
Now, Prem, we do one thing, because I
Yes,
will
sir.
tell you something. I've been to 144 countries in my life. I've spoken on more than few thousand subjects on a very completely different
Right, sir.
subject all over the world. So I never prefer. So when you want me to speak something next time, you please write to me what exactly you want me to speak, and I will speak
All right, sir.
exactly on those issues. Thank you
All
very,
right,
very
sir. Okay. Yeah.
much. Really
Thank you,
appreciate
sir.
it. I
Thank you so
really,
much,
really enjoyed being with you. Thank you very much.
sir. Love to have you here, sir. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank
Bye.
you, sir.
Bye.
Thank you.
All the best. Thank you.
Bye-bye.